That is the most powerful and simple prayer we could make. If you don't know what else to pray, let that be it. Have your way in me. It's especially appropriate for today. This is Aloha Sunday, and on every Aloha Sunday we always speak to an ancient Hawaiian proverb so we can find that beautiful connection between the Hawaiian culture and the spiritual truths that we know. These collections were put together in a book by Dr. Mary Kavenapukui called Olelo Noeao, which means wisdom sayings. The one we're looking at today is this, Pono ka Hana'ia a iho mai na Lani. Now I will tell you a couple of things. First of all, I cannot recall a time when I was speaking to a Hawaiian proverb that I felt was more fundamentally important and true than this one. And the other thing is, there's a part of this I really want you to learn, because I'm going to ask you as we go along. And it's very simple. I want you to say, Aiho mai na Lani. Aiho mai na Lani. Again, Aiho mai na Lani. Now I'm going to explain it. Pono refers to the good. Pono is good, right? We've talked about that word before. Kahana, hana means to work or to do. And when you have ia after it, it's like a continuance. So it's the work continuing. Aiho mai means like from above. Nalani is the heavens. So what I want you to remember is Aiho mai nalani, until the heavens come down. That's what it is. Until the heavens come down. Aiho mai nalani. Okay? Aiho mai nalani. It's kind of like in the South, they sometimes you say, well, we're just going to do this till Jesus comes. So you can say, we'll do this Aiho mai nalani, until the heavens come down. Okay? Aiho mai nalani. Dr. Pukui says the definition is kind of this: continue to do good until the heavens come down to you. I want to talk about that idea of continuing and the idea of doing good, and most importantly, the coming down of heaven to us. Because wouldn't that be wonderful in your life if you had heaven coming down into your life? Wouldn't you like to have that? To be walking around in a sense of heavenness? Let's talk about that idea of doing good. It's extremely common. O kapono, the good. It's common not only in religion, but in spiritual teachings. It's common in philosophy. It's common in political parties. It's common in social organizations. I mean, it's just sort of a theme that runs through humanity, that we should do good. Isn't that right? I mean, you've heard that probably. How many mothers have pointed a finger at their little children and said, be good? It's fantastic. Well, Paul was saying the same thing in his letter to the Galatians, the great apostle Paul. He said, so let's not allow ourselves to get fatigued doing good. In the Buddhist tradition, Buddha said, fashion your life as a garland of beautiful deeds. In the Quran, it says, good deeds annul evil deeds. This is a reminder for the mindful. And finally, in the Bhagavad Gita, it says, no one who does good deeds will ever come to a bad end, either here or in the world to come. O kapono, doing the good deeds. So I think it's a universal understanding of, okay, yeah, we should be doing good things in the world. I mean, I'm trusting you've come to church. That's an easy thing to convince you of. Hana'ia is the perseverance problem. How do we keep doing that? Because we run up against some barriers for ourselves. And the common barriers for me is, this is too big. Nothing I do can make a difference. You know, we think about something like global warming or world peace. It's like, don't even think about it. There's nothing you can do about it. Or often we get involved in doing good and we get discouraged. We don't want to keep doing it because, you know what? It's not going to make a difference. It's not having an effect. It's whatever I'm doing, it's just not working. Or the ones I hear quite frequently is, why should I keep doing this? Because no one appreciates it. My name isn't in the program. I haven't received an award or a trophy or anything, not even a coupon for a 20% discount in the thrift store. Why should I keep doing good? So, because we're not appreciated, or we don't think it's effective, or we don't think it's going to make any difference. Why should I give $1 to this homeless person on the street? He's just going to go and buy alcohol anyway. I mean, we have all of our reasons for not doing good, and you've got your own, and they're all probably pretty possible. But the real key to that is the problem we have with doing good in that sense, in that traditional sense of the world, is that we are tied to the outcomes. You say, well, yeah. Is that not a good thing? No, it's not. It's conditional. It's like loving someone conditionally. The outcomes are what we see in our own eyes as the results we want. I talked about love as being this energy of the heart that flows out to the object of its affection, desiring only the best for its object. But it's not, the definition is love is this energy of the heart that flows out to the object of its affection and expects that object to return in a like way and kind and behave in an appropriate manner. Yeah, that's not what it is. This is our problem, is the outcomes, and nothing teaches about it more clearly than the Bhagavad Gita, which says, you have a right to your actions, but never to your actions' fruits. Well, now that's completely irritating. Act for the action's sake. You mean I'm supposed to do good, and I'm not supposed to care whether it has any effect on people or not? You got it. That's it. You got it. You mean I'm supposed to do good and I'm not supposed to care whether it's really going to have an impact on global warming or not? You got it. You mean I'm supposed to throw this trash away regardless of the fact that everybody else is throwing trash on the floor? I mean, who cares? Yeah. We have no right to the fruits of our actions. Now, why is that? Why would that be that we have no right? And the reason is we have no idea what we do and how we do affects anything in this world. We may think we do. We have no idea. Do you understand that? I know that for myself. I have often said something to someone just off the cuff, oh, you look really good. Oh, that was a lovely job, la, la, la. I go off. Years later, they'll come back and say, oh, my God, when you said that to me, that just changed my life. That was the most amazing thing. I can't believe it. I have no idea. I did a workshop once for Vietnam vets, and this person was in the class. I had no idea. I didn't really even know who he was. About 5 years later, there's a book that's written, that's compiled together by, I'm going to say Deepak Chopra. I think it was Deepak Chopra, called Moments of Grace. And there was a whole chapter about me doing this workshop and this person who was in the workshop. I had no idea. People come up and wanted me to sign the book. Why? Because it's all about you. We have no idea. There is no way we should ever be attached to the outcomes, and that is a difficult thing for us to do. James Dillard Freeman, who is a wonderful unity writer, said it like this: it is often just when we have struggled until we feel that we cannot go on that the pattern of victory begins to appear, and suddenly we see that our struggles have not been wasted, that a work has been done that was no less effective because it was invisible. So what I am suggesting for you is the good works that we are doing, the good things that we're doing in this world are beginning to create a pattern of victory. Where? Where would that pattern of victory be? Right here. And can I see it? No, it's invisible. The reason for doing the good deeds has nothing to do with anything out there and everything to do with what's going on in here. That's why we can't be attached to the external outcomes, because the pattern of victory and the invisible good is happening here. As the Hawaiians would say, iho mai na Lani. That was a test. Now I'm going to test you later, so you really better get it. Some of you are writing it down right now. I don't even have to look, and I can know that you're doing it. Iho mai na Lani. Charles Fillmore, the co-founder of Unity, says that heaven is a state of consciousness in harmony with the thoughts of God. So if heaven is coming down, what's coming down? Harmony. What's coming down is an awareness of the presence of God. That is what heaven is coming down. So the good deeds that we're doing, all these good things that are happening, are all for the reason of bringing that consciousness in ourselves down to this. It's fantastic, isn't it? Now that's the interpretation of the Hawaiian saying, and I was absolutely thrilled to show you a connection point that we don't normally get to see as clearly as we see it now. And it's found in the book of Genesis. Now, don't get scared. I'm going to read from the Bible. And don't get doubly scared. I'm reading from the Old Testament. I'm going to read from the 32nd chapter of the book of Genesis. The story is about Jacob. Now, Jacob is the one, if you know anything about the Bible, who kind of deceived his father and stole a birthright from his brother. And he lived many years feeling really bad about that. And so at a certain point in his life, he was going to try to make amends, and he's traveling with his family to make amends. And he spends a night alone. Now you have to understand what that's like. He's beginning to make a change in consciousness, and he's all by himself. And this amazing story unfolds in the 32nd chapter of the book of Genesis. Jacob stayed behind by himself, and a man wrestled with him until daybreak. The man said, "Let me go, it's daybreak." Jacob said, "I'm not letting you go until you bless me." I want to stop there for a minute. Do you understand what's happening? All of a sudden, there's this story going on about he's wrestling with a man. Now, in the Judaic-Christian version of the story, the man is not a man, he's an angel. And I'm not sure where that came from because it's never mentioned that he's an angel, but people say it's an angel. He's wrestling with the man, and what I think is he's not wrestling with a man or an angel. Who do you think he's wrestling with? He's wrestling with himself. Haven't you ever wrestled with yourself? You had a decision to make. You were getting ready to go and do something that was painful and awful, and you have a whole night where you're running these things in your head, and you have all these different conversations, and you are wrestling with yourself. Well, that's exactly what he's doing. But look what he said. "I will not let you go. I'm not going to stop wrestling with this until you bless me." He is going to continue keeping that good thing of wrestling going until the heavens come down. He wasn't going to let go. And then what happens next is incredibly profound. The man says to him, "What's your name?" In the Hebrew culture, the name represents the entity itself. The name was a very sacred thing, which is why in certain Jewish cultures you don't even ever speak the name of God, and you don't write it either. It's why God, when they ask, "Who are you?" God said, "I am that I am." The name was everything. And so here is this wrestling, and the person says to him, "Who do you think you are?" And that's the question for us. Who do we think we are? In the midst of all of these struggles that we're constantly having, we should be asking ourselves, who am I? Because my suspicion is, if you're like me and so many other people, I think I'm way less than who I really am. Well, I'm this person that really screwed up, or I'm this person that didn't quite do this, or I had big plans, that didn't happen, or I'm this, or I'm that, and I can't achieve that. And I have this sort of opinion. That's who I am. He asked the man, "Who do you think you are?" And Jacob says, "Jacob." And the man said, "But no longer. Your name is no longer Jacob. From now on, your name is Israel," which means God wrestler. Wow. I think that's incredibly important because in the Hebrew people, they don't say that they are children of Abraham, they're descended from Abraham. They don't say that they are children of Moses, that they are descended from Moses. They are children of Israel. The entire country is named Israel. They are claiming they're wrestling with God because that's the struggle that we all have every moment of every day in our life, to be centered in God or to be centered in the world. And that's the crux of the struggle. And then Jacob says, "What's your name?" Who is this thing we're struggling with? What is that thing we're struggling with? It's a great, great question. And the thing says, "Why do you want to know? I bless you." And then here's where it all comes to truth at the end. Jacob names this place where the wrestling happened. He calls it Peniel, which means God's face, because Jacob said, "I saw God face to face." You see, when there comes a moment in life when you know who you really are, when you know at the core of your being that you're not the things that everybody said you were when you were growing up, but as you know at the core of your being, because you have wrestled with that spirit and you have seen that it is God, and God says, this is who you are. You change. Not only do you change, this one man named Israel changed the world. He had no idea, but he did. Each one of us is wrestling all the time. And I invite you to look at who you're wrestling with, to look at who you think you are, and to know that you are wrestling with the Spirit of God in you that wants you to be the God wrestler. When I was in high school, I was in track. And so I could talk about track. I could talk about running away from God, running to God, running in circles. I'm good at that. But I didn't know anything about wrestling. Because if I want to encourage you to be a God wrestler, I want to tell you about how to wrestle with God, how to wrestle with that spirit in yourself. So I went on the internet and I found a website on 10 steps to be a good wrestler. And I want to share some of them with you today. A lot of them had nothing to do with stuff that we could talk about. You know, they were postures and certain other things. But there were 4 of them that talked about our states of mind and our spirit. And they're perfect for us. I want you to become successful wrestlers with God in you. And step number 1 was called conditioning. Be in good condition. And how do we get in good condition for a spiritual battle? It's prayer and meditation. We need to be, we say around here, we're prayed up, which means we're not waiting until the last minute, but we're spending regular time. And I keep going over, and are you going to talk about meditation again? You bet. Nothing else will keep you in condition. Number 2, know the fundamentals. Know the fundamentals. And for us, that means know the truth. So that means when we go into this wrestling experience where we're going to be encountering these struggles in our life, we need to know the truth. Now, we may know it here, but not here. So we have to keep repeating it for ourselves. And what truths do we know? I am a beloved expression of God. Let's say it together. I am a beloved expression of God. The presence of God is in me now. Let's say that. The presence of God is in me now. I am connected to God at every moment of every day. Let's say that. I am connected to God at every moment of every day. I am part of the infinite flow of good in the universe. Let's say that. I am part of the infinite flow of good in the universe. See, those are fundamental truths. We need to know those if we're going to go into this experience. Without any doubt, but knowing that that's who we are. Number 3, I like this. Pay attention to your coach. So I wanted to go out and get a big T-shirt that says coach on it, but you know what? I'm not your coach. I am not your coach. Jesus said to his disciples in the book of John, he said, I will give you a teacher who will show you all things, and that is the Spirit of God. So the coach is here. So the exhortation is, pay attention to the coach. The coach is right here. And the last one is, have heart and the urge to win, which I translate saying, believe in yourself. Know that's who you are. When we enter into these struggles, let's not go into them with doubt. Let's say, yeah, it's a struggle. I'm wrestling with it, but I know the truth. And I want to know who I am. I want to live in that truth of who I am. So the last affirmation I want to give you is this. I will continue to do good until the heavens come down and bless me. And that's the Hawaiian phrase we're doing. But you're doing it in English. Will you join me? Let's say this together. I will continue to do good until the heavens come down and bless me. And that blessing you get will be the knowing of the presence of God in you. Each and every one of you. God wrestlers. Will you close your eyes with me for just a moment, please? All of these things always take place inside of us. All transformation does. And this wrestling that Jacob did, even though they talk about it as if it actually happened out on a field somewhere, it happened within him. And the change in the knowing of who he was happened within him. I'm going to invite you in these moments to just consider the struggle within yourself. Consider what it might be in this struggle if God was to ask you, who do you think you are? What answer would you give? And anything that you would say that would be less than the love in which you were created, I invite you to let it go. I invite you to know that it is not the truth of your being. Claim the blessing. Allow that harmony of thought with God to flow in and through your body now. As we come together to God in the sacred and holy silence.